Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast, episode 90. Hope everyone is having an amazing day. I'm your host today, Daren Mcclimans. We're joined. Oh, looky who's back. It's Mr. Connor.
What up?
How's it going,
How's
Connor?
everybody doing?
I'm good. How does it feel to have been on 90 episodes? It's crazy.
I've been on every single one of those 90 episodes. Yeah, I have.
Yep,
That's
everyone.
really impressive. That's
Thanks,
a
man.
lot of episodes.
I know it's like 90. Like 80 feels like, oh, I feel like I've done more than 80, and 90 is like I've done 90. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. So is that 90 weeks straight you've done these?
No, I started. For a while I was doing 2 a week, which is why I got there so fast.
Okay.
So it was like a good 3 months. We were doing like 2 episodes a week, and then after a while, like once the Flash and because what we did is we did an episode after Flash and then after Superman. Yeah. So that was twice a week for a while, and then the shows ended. We're like, well, let's just go down to 1 a week. Because reasons, but
just come back though, because Superman Lois come back.
Sure, yeah. Let's get back to the we'll. I'm very excited though. Like, what if you come on any of those episodes, we have to have like a little segment. Just be like, let's talk about Superman Lois for one last time.
Sure, yeah,
for sure,
absolutely.
But yeah, thank you for being here. Very last minute thing.
No, of course.
It's like, yo, I can do it, and I was like, bet, come on.
Always happy to
we'll have you in. Of course, earlier than normal, didn't have much time to promo, but if anyone pops in, we'd love to have you. Love to chat with you. How have you been, Connor? How's things been going for you?
I've been pretty good, yeah. Very busy. Which is kind of why I stepped back a little bit from the pipeline and my channel as well. Not been a whole lot going on over there. But yeah, I've been gotten super behind on TV shows and stuff like that as well. Still been kind of caught up on movies like Furiosa and stuff like that. Been great. But yeah, just busy. How you been?
I've been good. I'm getting so behind on everything. Like everything's coming back at the moment. I was like, I gotta keep up on this stuff. But first, movies, I didn't see Garfield yet. I didn't see Furiosa yet. I haven't done If yet. I haven't done Fall Guy yet. Like, I'm so behind on everything, like new movies wise. Bad Boys comes out today.
I think it's out today. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to see that with my dad today, but I might do it tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, there's a lot coming out. This month for TV is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Like I talked about it earlier in the week. Like, this is the one kind of okay week of the month because we got The Acolyte just started.
Yeah.
We have The Boys. We have what else big? The Bear is coming back.
Yeah.
We got
the very end of the month, I think, with The Bear.
House of the Dragon next week, I think.
Yeah.
New Toe Drama, if anyone's watching that. Like, there's a lot just kind of coming out. Bridgerton, back half's coming out. Anything like TV, movie, like media-wise you would like to shout out or talk about for this week, though?
As in what I've watched or what I'm looking forward to?
Just like what you've watched. Or if you want to talk about what's coming up, by all means.
Well, kind of the like a lot of my weekly shows I am behind, really behind on at the moment. Like, I haven't seen the Star Trek Discovery final yet, which is insane.
Oh no.
I've been that's it's a week old at this point. And I was super up to date on that all season. And the final's like an hour 20 minutes as well, so it's like trying to find time to sit and watch that. But I've been I think My Adventures with Superman is the one show I'm keeping up with weekly. But it's easy to because it's 20 minutes. So it's you just kind of sit there. It's a nice little fun show, and I've been loving it. The new episode.
Them for doing so much in 20 minutes as well.
Yeah,
like this last episode
it feels packed.
All of this, I was like, that was 20 minutes. Felt like it was like an hour.
Bringing in Steel was a really cool decision.
That was really
cool.
Excited.
Yeah,
I'm really I wish they didn't tell us. Like that would have been a nice like surprise. But they put out that photo a couple days before. It was like, that would have been nice to not know.
It's just it's interesting as well because they didn't have to, because they've been dangling that Kara sort of tease, and we haven't gotten Kara yet. So it's are they could have held off on showing us Steel, showed us Kara, and then do Steel later or something like that. But I'm happy with the way they're doing it. I wonder when Kara's showing up. Is it next week? Is it?
I don't know. She's not in the photos that they put out, so I'm not sure. Which, shout out to them. It seems like they're really trying to get another season because they've been heavily promoting it. Each week there's been hey, here's several photos to get you hyped for the next one, which I do appreciate. That's nice to be oh yeah, especially like people like us that making thumbnails. It's nice. They actually gave us proper photos we can use.
Yeah, HD ones as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
No, completely. I think I was almost going to say I think the marketing for season 2 is better than season 1, but I don't think so actually, because I kind of remember there was a lot of good marketing for season 1 as well. It felt like they were really, really, really teasing season 1. But for season 1, it just felt like it was more. I think the marketing was more dragged out. Like we had those first looks for months before season 2 came out. Like in months, almost a year, I think, maybe even.
Yeah.
Whereas like season 2, we get a poster and a trailer like 4 or 5 weeks before the season comes out. Like that's pretty cool. Also been very deep in a Black Sails rewatch, and I'm on season 3 at the moment, and it is so good. It's so good. It's I think it might end up in like my top 5 shows of all time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
I gotta just do it, man. Like you and our friends have pitched it for years. I'm a big Blind Wave fan, and every time they're like, Black Sails, you gotta watch it. I was like, I know, I gotta do it. I'm still, it's hilarious because I've watched all of season 1 except for that last episode, which I hear is like the best. Like I hear like that's when it gets really good.
Sure.
So it's like I'm just before greatness and I stopped. Yeah. But I was like, I don't have time.
But I will say, during rewatch, I think season 1 was actually a lot better than I remembered. I did find the first episode, I think like the 3rd episode, the 5th episode, and the final all to be perfect episodes. So I'm like, but I'm wondering if that's because I'm on a rewatch of it, like I know all the characters and stuff like that, so it's hitting more, or if maybe it's like, now I'm watching it and I'm like, no, you know what? I think season 1 is as good as season 2, so maybe it could be that if season 1 didn't grab you, maybe it's just not your kind of show.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't dislike it. Like, I wasn't, like, bored with it. And again, I hear it just got better. So, like, I do want to revisit it. Like, I do really want to get into it at some point. But, I don't know. Someday, it'll get higher on that list.
Yeah.
But, what do I want to talk about? I mean, are you caught up with the newest Doctor Who yet? Have you seen episodes?
I have seen every episode but the new one.
Okay. It was I don't know. I kind of think it was my favorite episode this season, which I've actually, I feel like we kind of maybe have slightly different opinions. I've enjoyed it. Like, I don't think it's like the best thing ever, but I really enjoyed this season. And like the ending to this episode has stuck in my head like all week.
Okay.
And I love when a TV show can do that, when I'm just like constantly thinking about what they did.
Yeah.
I don't know, the world. This episode really reminded me. Do you remember Blink? The season 3 episode. It really like reminded me kind of how that episode was formatted. Not to spoil it, but like them guiding someone through a thing.
Okay, and that's exciting.
That's kind of the way it's formatted. And like there's a twist at the end where like if you go back in the episode, you can see it hinted throughout the episode. And you're like, oh no, this is what that means. And this new Doctor, obviously I don't have his name in my head yet. Like I don't have it like memorized yet, but like I think like this episode proved like, oh, he's like the Doctor. Like he's got this in the bag. So that's been in my head all week. I've just been thinking about it the last couple of days. Obviously, My Adventures was great. I haven't been able to watch a lot. You know what? I will say it was my birthday over the week, so I did my like annual Lion King birthday watch, which I try to do every year, and that's always a blast. And for the first time, weirdly enough, I watched like the documentary that they made for the movie back in the day. I never did that. I didn't even know it existed, and it was like attached to like the like DVD of the movie, and I was like, oh, this is fascinating. I love this. How have I never watched? Cool. That was really fun. It's always cool like getting to see like things you've never seen from one of your favorite things. It's like, you get to see like them in the booths, like you making the movie and how it all kind of came to be. It was like, that's really cool. And just trying to get caught up with Walking Dead. I'm just like I'm there. I'm in my final 6 episodes. It's like I'm at the finish line. I just gotta push a little further and I'm there.
Speaking of Walking Dead, they announced, I think 50 minutes ago, that that Daryl Dixon is going to be end of September, which which I think it's September because I think Dead City was supposed to be towards the end of this year, got pushed 2025, and they needed something to fill that gap, and that's why Daryl Dixon is not coming out till then.
That's really
I think Daryl Dixon was going to be a summer show.
Yeah. So those are the only 2 that are currently on, right? Like those are like the only 2 current shows.
Yeah, Tales of the Walking Dead technically hasn't been cancelled, but it doesn't look like it's coming back. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that sucks. But no, last time you were on, did I just finish season 10? Is that where I was?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think we talked about season 11 at all.
Yeah, I you know what? I think I like 11 the more I think about it. Like, I haven't been enjoying it a lot, but I think that just may be because I'm like kind of burned out. Like, I think I'm just kind of ready to pass the finish line. So it's like, all right, like, I think if I was watching this live, I'd be enjoying it a lot more than I am. I'm just kind of going through the motions at this point. Like, I didn't love that first half a lot. I just kind of felt like, all right, it kind of felt like more of what I had already kind of seen in the past. But I've actually really enjoyed, like, the Commonwealth stuff. Like, I think that has been like a real breath of fresh air. It feels like a direction that the show has never really gone into this extent. Like, it almost feels like a spin-off of,
just a little bit, yeah.
It feels like, all right, this isn't the main show, but we're taking characters from the main show and putting them here in this new situation. It's a lot more like political, which the show, like, obviously the show, you know, they were political in their own little way, in the way that they could, but this feels like, you know, a more politically driven show, which I think is, again, very fascinating in a world that is destroyed. Like, how do you grow, how do you regrow, like, a society in a real way, and trying to re-implement rules and jobs and standards? I think that's really fascinating. So I'm into it more than I was, I think, in season 10 overall at the moment, but I don't know.
It should be said that the part you're at in the show now, in the comics, that was, like, fairly recent. Like, those comics only came out, I think the Commonwealth, because I read the comics every time a new one would come out up until the Whispers ended, and then I've never actually read the Commonwealth arc. I a lot of summaries just to see who the characters were, who's going. I know the comics end, which the comics end very, very, very differently to the show. But because I was reading the Whispers arc when the show was dealing with like early Negan. So that would mean that the Commonwealth stuff probably started around like season 7 of the show, and then it ended maybe around season 8, season 9 of the show. So it's not like it's too crazily far from the past of the show, which is kind of weird to think about, because I think when you think of The Walking Dead, it feels like the comics have been out forever, when realistically, like, the show caught up to them pretty fast, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think season 11, the Commonwealth stuff is definitely the best part of the season. It feels like a mix of like Woodbury from season 3 and Terminus a little bit as well from season 5, just in terms of the tone and vibes. And I think the Reapers are fine, but I don't think they ever should have been given the weight and focus that the show pushed on them. Like, I don't know, I think that they were, well, they're cool in theory. I think the Commonwealth stuff was always the most exciting part of that season, and the Reaper stuff kind of just takes away from that, which is why I think once the Reapers are done, the season gets a whole lot better, in my opinion.
Like, I liked it in theory. Like, we were talking a little bit of this in like a Discord. Like, I think the idea of like weaponized like religion is fascinating, especially in the world that's like destroyed. So like having like almost like a preacher pastor type character kind of like be in charge and be like, this is God's will. Like, that's fascinating. I think that's really cool. It just, I don't know, like, in general, it ultimately felt like, it's another evil group that we got to take down because they think they're better than us. Like, it was just like, all right, let's do this again. And I agree. I think because like even when that stuff was going on, I was way more fascinated in like the Eugene and Ezekiel and Princess stuff while they were over there. I was like, this is fascinating. I want to see where they kind of take that. And Eugene has become like one of my favorite characters somehow. I don't know how that happened. Like, and he went from like,
I didn't get great.
It's so weird because I went from like, I don't care about this guy to I hate this guy to now he's like, how are you one of the best characters in this show? I don't know how this has happened, but yeah, he's been great. I've loved the like Susie, what's her name? Oh my gosh, what's the? Oh my gosh,
I haven't seen season 11 since it came out.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh my gosh, except for the S, I think it's the girl he's met here, and like that journey was really fun. And I will say, the scene it didn't last long because of how the seasons went so far. But like the moment where like they're all gone and like the Commonwealth takes over Alexandria and they put the flags on their building, that gave me like Negan vibes. I got to like that, there was that sinking feeling of like, oh no, you took away what we've been building to for 11 seasons. Fuck you. Like that was like that was a great moment to me. So
it like I think the Commonwealth stuff feels like a really cool combination of a lot of the main villains. Like, I think you take bits and pieces from all of them and you throw it in like Lance or the military from the Commonwealth and stuff like that. It all like really does fall in well with what the show wants to do, which I think is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Again, it took me a little bit to get into the season, but now I'm like, all right, cool. I actually really, just like a final bit on here, like I've only seen it for 2 episodes. I assume they're going to be doing it, but I like the little intros they've done for the part 3, where you get just like it's Judith like narrating, and you get to see like the bits of the past of the show. You get like Shane and Rick and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. And the Invincible comic cameo I got in my last episode. Is a pairing to like Carl. Like what season early Carl was reading it, and now he's reading it. I was like, oh, okay, that's really cute.
Yeah, I think Carl and Enid are reading it in like early season 6 or late season 5 or something. Yeah.
And then like Michonne has one as well. I was looking it up like season 2 or 3. Like she has one, and to have all her kids have one too. It's really cute, I thought.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I really think I think like I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the later parts of season 11, because I think in general a lot of people were pretty happy from what I remember from the final few episodes. I'm not crazy about, I guess, the out of universe stuff, like in terms of like how they handled the overall show when it came up to the end. I think it's a little disrespectful to such a long running show, but we'll see when you get there. We'll have a conversation.
I already kind of have the thing, because you already told me like it's more of a merging point than it is an actual final season, because it just it does not feel like a final season at all.
Yeah,
it feels like maybe we're building up to a final season, maybe like season 12, because you said they wanted to do 12 seasons, right? Like that was
originally the plan. But I don't think 12 would have ever dealt with like Rick or anything like that. Okay. I think the original plan was like Reaper's one season, Commonwealth the other season, but I don't think like the CRM or Rick or Michonne or any of that sort of stuff was going to play into any season 12, unfortunately.
Would you have been okay if they just did like the Rick show as season 12? Like it was just like a 6 episode? Because that's kind of like, I feel like that would make it feel like, oh yeah, this is like you're starting with Rick, you're ending with Rick. So I feel like
that's what I wanted.
Like I know he appears in the final episode, but it feels like The Walking Dead probably should be Rick's final story. Like if you should,
Which is one of those reasons why I'm like, it's weird to have your main character be completely absent from your show, from your 11 season run show for years, and then not even wrap him up properly in that show. But I think it's like, because originally when season 11 was announced as like a 24 episode 3-part season, my thought straight away went to the final part of that, the final group of episodes is going to be a story then, because at that point we hadn't heard about the movies for years. It had been like years with absolutely no updates on them. Everybody was speculating the movies were dead. Everyone was speculating we were never going to see Rick and Michonne again. And then they go and announce that we have an extended season 11 with 3 parts that are going to make all season. I was like, well, there you go. The final part of season 11 is going to be Rick's story. And it wasn't. And I was like,
because it was 7 episodes, right? Is the final part. So
would have made sense. So, yeah.
Yeah,
because 6 episodes that be in the miniseries would have jived perfectly.
Yeah, and like that kind of stuff happens a lot, where like cast members leave and you move on with new people, and I think that's fine. But the fact that you did those episodes anyway, and it would have been cool if you could have just tacked it on for the 12th season or whatever it may be. But I'm excited to get there. I'm excited. I'm so close to those spin-offs. I don't know. I'm thinking about taking a little break in between the main show and the spin-offs, because I want to enjoy those shows more than I currently am. But we'll see. We'll see how
the spin-offs are very different. But I think each of the spin-offs is good in its own way.
Sure. I'm excited. I've heard good things about most of them. I'm excited to see where they all go. But we're going to be jumping into today's episode. We got a couple of news stories I want to talk about today. And we are going to be talking about Venom, The Last Dance. The official trailer for Venom, The Last Dance has been released. Connor's favorite Marvel franchise. Nothing even comes close. Nothing even reaches.
So up to me, there'd only be Venom films. There'd be no other films.
Yep. No Batman. No Superman. Definitely not no Superman. Superman's just the last son of Venom is what we call it. Yeah.
There you go. That's good.
We were talking a little bit about this in our Discord, but obviously we've talked on here before. Not the hugest Venom fan, and that's definitely understandable. Did you see this trailer? Do you have any thoughts on this trailer?
It was a long trailer. It was like 3 minutes or something.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's Sony for you.
And it showed a lot. It did show a lot.
It did.
Like I felt like, like towards the end when the music was kind of ramping up and they were cutting between so many different things, and I was like, I feel like I'm getting like little teases of every single thing the film's going to hit. just out of this year, which isn't a bad thing. They're trying to get people hyped. I mean, Venom's always been the biggest seller for Sony. Like the two Venom films have done so much better than Morbius or Madam Web, and will probably do better than Kraven the Hunter. So I think I don't think it was a bad trailer. I just think that for me personally, I know what the Venom films are from those first two films, and the trailer did not show me anything that made me think that this would be more my style than the first two films were.
Sure.
Like, I already know what the Venom films are, and I'm already not really a fan of that style.
Yeah.
And the Venom Trees trailer was just more of that to me. Which, not a bad trailer for people who are a fan of this version of the character or for these films. I'm sure it was the coolest thing ever. But, the big horse at the end was cool, sure. That was wild, it was out there, but then the rest of the trailer was just a lot of like, oh, okay, it's just Venom 2 but dialed up to 100. Which, fair, but I'm not sure if I'm into it.
No, that's fair. I enjoyed this trailer quite a bit. I had fun watching this. I wouldn't say I'm like excited. Like, I wouldn't say this. I'm like, I've heard a lot of people being like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like the best superhero movie of the year, and I was like, did you forget about Deadpool and did you forget about Joker? And like, I don't know. Like, that was kind of
probably gonna be it.
And here's the thing, like, I don't know how much of it is real and how much of it is like the meme of it all, because I feel like these movies rely a lot on the meme. Madam Web, of course, and it's Morbin Time. Like, a lot of these movies, it's going to make a Venom $. Like, that's just the meme of it all. So I can't tell how much of it is like real hype or if it's like fake hype. But also, like, no press is bad press, right? So like,
absolutely,
Like, if all these jokes are happening, they're going to go to a theater to make more of the jokes. Like, it could, like, it doesn't really matter if it's fake or not. They're going to go see it. So it's been really interesting to see. I will say that Venom Horse, freaking cool as heck. Like, that already makes it better than Madam Web for me. Like Madam Web didn't have a cool Venom Horse jumping off a cliff.
No. Madam Web did have really bad dub, though. Like, really bad ADR. So that got that going for it. But no, I agree with you.
Yeah, it looks... You know what? I thought it looked like a fun blockbuster comic book movie. I enjoyed the first two Venoms. Venom is those two movies... I don't think they're good. I can go and have fun with them, though. Like, I can have fun with Venom biting people's heads off and riding horses off cliffs, and we got all these other, like, symbiotes coming down from the sky. And I will say, I think I'm more excited going into this one than I was the first two at this time.
No, I would agree with that.
It's interesting. And I will say, like, it looks like a proper MCU movie at this point. Like, the way you're bringing over, getting, like, the Venom stuff from No Way Home. I was like,
but this is kind of just... Isn't that a retcon, though? Isn't that like a major retcon? We've got Danny Rojas and Mordo in a bar that was clearly supposed to be the MCU in Spider-Man No Way Home now be in the Sonyverse.
So wait, is that technically like Mordo, or is it just the actor playing a new character?
I think it's just it's the actor playing a new character.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I'm not sure what.
Because because that was out for a while. Like, Mordo's gonna be in this movie, some multiverse thing, like all the way back then. I was like, I think he's just a guy. I think he's actually a military guy. And same with Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man. I was he's like at first I was like, oh, they're bringing over that. I was like, no, I think it's just a guy. I think he's playing a different character.
Because we have a Peter Parker as well in there, don't we? Like a young Peter Parker. Isn't that who the kid is? So, like, that's
the theory. I would not be shocked though if they're like, hey, place a kid and a mom in this trailer to make everyone think it's Peter, and we go in the movie, it's just like,
don't see what it is.
Kid number one, and it's like a school bus teacher in a suit or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Like, it's Mary Parker and Peter Parker, or is it? And then it isn't. It just ends up being like Venom's nephew on his, or I guess Eddie's nephew. But no, I completely agree with like everything you're saying. Like, it feels like a wacky, fun film. I'm over Sony's bullshit, man. Like, I think they just gotta chill. Like, they keep trying to force these films on us. I'm just not here for it. I'm
tired.
Yeah, I'm tired of it. I just like, go and do your cool things, like your Spider-Man Noir series. Like, that's cool. That Silk series, if it actually had Silk in it and not whatever they're talking about where it didn't have Silk, that would be cool. Make those kind of things. Make Spider-Verse things. don't be giving us Morbius and Madam Web, which, I mean, yeah, technically the Venom films are better than Morbius and Madam Web, but I don't think the bar is too much higher. Like, I still think I'd put Venom and Venom 2 in like my lower tier comic book films that I've seen, you know?
Yeah. It's also like I could get on this a little bit more if it was the last one. We're like, all right, one last one, they're going out with a bang, got a Venom horde, and then we had to do this and then go see Kraven. Like, that's frustrating for me. That's Kraven in December is so fucking dumb. I'm sorry.
Kraven should be out like now. Like, there's not a whole lot of films out. Like, Bad Boys is coming out today, but like, other than Inside Out, which I don't think like Inside Out and
different demographics.
Kraven, completely different demographics. Like, I think, you know, now is like early June, because nothing's really coming out until the end of June. Like Bike Riders, Quiet Place, like all that stuff is like end of the month. So I think they should have gotten that out now.
I mean, what's out in August? Because that's when it was. Is there anything huge in August?
I can't think of anything that's out in August.
Yeah, there's like, it's all like June, July. I think August is going to be most of like carry out from. Well, I guess Deadpool would be right at the end of July, so maybe they don't.
Yeah, that would lead into August.
Yeah, I guess so. But still, like end of August, I think they would have been fine.
Yeah, end of August, September, probably pretty clear for them.
I wonder if they put something in Kraven that has like Venom has to be there first or something.
The Venom horse. Kraven has to.
Oh yeah. The Venom horse. I don't know. Maybe it's like we got a young Peter Parker in there, and they're like, "Oh, this has to come." I don't know. It's stupid.
Wow. They could do that. I mean, it's Sony. You can't put anything past them at this point.
It's Vulture, man. Vulture's back. You gotta.
So, if this is the bar from the MCU, why was Vulture in Morbius, and why did he say he doesn't know how he got here and it's something to do with Spider-Man? He thinks.
I don't think we're ever getting back to that. Yeah, I think Marvel is going to purposely ignore that. They're like, no, that he's on our Earth. Deal with it.
Does this mean like Morbius and Venom aren't the same Earth then? Like, can we say that?
I don't know.
Sacred timeline, I guess. I don't know. Loki up there. Timeline. Yeah, God of Stories is up there. Like, what is going on Earth, Sony?
I mean, that was the meme, right? Where it's like he used like that timeline as like his like toilet paper or whatever. It's just like, oh, no one cares about this one. But no, that's fun. Well, I guess we'll talk about that more when it comes out eventually.
Oh, can't wait.
Avengers 5. I'm more excited to talk about this one. So we got our first details for Avengers 5 over the last couple of days. I don't have all the details pulled up right in front of me. I could maybe pull that up in a second if we want. Obviously Avengers 5, we had, I'll be honest, I got really excited that, like, obviously a long time away still, but I got excited getting like details at all. Like, it was like, oh, this sounds like real.
Details. Like these are
like we're getting official kind of details for what this movie can be. Are you excited for an Avengers 5? I know we talked about this a little bit the other day, but like how are you feeling just like basic value? Like, how are you at the moment?
I mean, I've been saying for a while, like, my MCU movie hype is nowhere near what it was, but I think like you would have to, my comic book movie hype would have to be 0 for me not to be excited for a new Avengers film, for a new live action Avengers film. Like, you know, every single one of the Avengers films so far have been events. They've been huge films and they've been fantastic. I think Age of Ultron isn't as good as the other 3, but I still think Age of Ultron is a great film. Like Avengers 1, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame each have been huge events that have broken so many records and have been phenomenons online and offline. Everyone's been talking about them. And the MCU is at an all-time low at the moment in terms of, you know, public, I guess, talk and like popularity. But I still think when a new Avengers film comes out, when that trailer drops, everyone's going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to be talking about it. Yeah. So I think it's hard not to be excited.
Yeah, no, I think like obviously there's a lot going on right now. I'm out of the MCU or whatever. New Avenger movie comes out. I think everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, I've been here the whole time." Like we're
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, Marvel is back.
And not only that, I think people will appreciate what had come before more once we get to see all these kind of characters come together. Like then I'd be like, "Oh, maybe Ant-Man Quantumania wasn't that bad after." You know, I think we're gonna get
like a revision thing.
Yeah, 100%. But already, I do want to talk about this one really quick. So Avengers 5 should count with over 60 characters. So let's talk about that part first. Let's talk about the 60 characters things first, because this has kind of had a lot of conversation about like 60 characters. Who the fuck we putting in this movie? How do you think this is going to work? How do you think we're going to organize 60 characters in one movie?
And we were kind of talking about that very briefly last night. And I think you're dead right that it's going to be a lot of these characters are going to be, you know, blink and you miss it sort of moments. Like even Infinity War had that where like Ned's on the bus at the beginning of the film and you don't see him again until the end of Endgame. Like I think it's going to be a lot of that where it's like, you know, as we cut to these characters to see where they are, we're going to have somebody there. Like, you know, we'll have Pepper Potts in whatever. Well, I guess this wouldn't really make sense because Tony Stark's not going to be around. But like, you know, you had Pepper Potts in Infinity War where Tony and her are talking about their dream right before Bruce comes out of the portal or whatever. But it's like I think it's going to be a lot of that. Like you mentioned, it's going to be characters who we've seen in, like, you'll have what was her name, Katie from Shang-Chi. Like you'll have her whenever we cut to Shang-Chi, see what he's doing. She'll be there very briefly. He'll be brought over to, you know, whatever the main event is. So I think like a lot of these characters, they're not going to be central things. But I also think 60 characters is a lot. And there's so many Marvel projects that a lot of people haven't seen. And if like you're spending the first 20 minutes of your film jumping around a lot of these characters that maybe a lot of the general audience doesn't know about yet, and you're seeing all these side characters in the background, like if we cut to the Eternals and Harry Styles is hanging out there and they're like, what's Harry Styles doing here? And you never see him again, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it can be a big pacing problem and it can be a big full stop. Like I think at least with Infinity War and Endgame leading up to Infinity War, most people had seen all the films. It was really easy to see all the films. There were gaps enough between them that you could see them all. There wasn't that really sense of fatigue yet. We were building to something. Whereas now we've got all these TV shows, we've got all these extra films that haven't been doing overly well at the box office. I think when it comes to a general audience, they're not going to recognize a lot of the newer faces. Like, unfortunately, like, you know, Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk, when she shows up, how many people are going to straight away know that's She-Hulk? She had her own TV show. It's like, I think it's going to be a lot of that, unfortunately.
It's interesting because when I watched in Infinity War for the first time, I wasn't that into the MCU yet. Like I was a kid. Like I had seen some, but I hadn't seen everything. I hadn't seen Thor 3. I hadn't seen I hadn't seen any Thor movie. I didn't see Doctor Strange. I didn't see Spider-Man. But the thing about those characters is I feel like I kind of knew who they were. Like pop culture wise, I didn't see Homecoming, but I knew Spider-Man. I knew he was there. I didn't see Thor, but I knew who Thor was because I saw the Avengers. So there was a bit of that where like, if you haven't seen Shang-Chi, you're not going to know who Shang-Chi is. Like that's
exactly,
Like the Eternals, you're not going to know who they were. I've seen the movie and I still don't really know who they were. So like, there's definitely that thing. I'll be curious though to kind of see how I agree with you. I think there could be a pacing issue. I could see that definitely being an issue. I love Endgame, but even Endgame I think has a massive pacing issue.
Yeah, right in the middle it kind of starts running into things.
It's like, it's like, oh, we got to do this and this and this. And I think there's a tone issue as well with like how they balance those different tones. So I'm going to be very interested to see what all they mean by 60. But I think in terms of like the characters themselves, we definitely have enough to fill up 60. Especially
for sure.
Phase 4 and 5. Like we got everyone that was in Phase 1 through 3. And then you have all of these new characters that were introduced throughout just the main heroes themselves is a lot. And then you add, so the main heroes also have people surrounding them. We have all these new teams. You even have like, what about some of the people you might want to bring from like Defenders? Like I could see a world where maybe Daredevil's in here. So what about Foggy and Karen? Do they make a cameo? Like there's enough here. You can 100% have 60 characters if you need. If you want
when you put it like that, 60 almost feels low. You know?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And again, like my issue is not the 60. My issue is how are they going to utilize this 60? How are they going to use the 60? It'll be very interesting. Like, I also kind of want to talk about
themselves take up like 10.
Yeah. I kind of hope they're not in here. I leave that maybe for Secret Wars or maybe I don't know. I don't know if I need that in here.
We don't need to see them again. Is what you're saying.
Moon Knight, does that count as 3 characters or does that count as 1?
Oh, good point, actually.
They could be like, we need 3 more. Oh, Moon Knight, put him in there. That's 3.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Good Jake, Steven, and Mark. Like, what do they do? Does Khonshu another one? Like, that's interesting.
Yeah. That's really funny. And also, I think you just have a lot of like. I definitely think we're going to go like the Infinity War route and do teams, where I think we'll have
split it
I think if we are doing Kang still, I know it's still up in the air if we are or not. The article said they were still not sure if they weren't. It's just like, come on, let's just decide at this point. I'm kind of tired.
You got to know that before making the movie. You know, you can't go into this film with a story without knowing if Kang is the villain or not.
Yeah. But if it is the villain, I think that would work very much for their team thing. We're like, okay, team A go here, team B go here, team C go here. So like you could have, okay, we got the Guardians, we have the old Avengers, we have the new Avengers, we got the young Avengers, we got like the Defenders. Like you could do that. You could have, okay, they're all in different places, and that could help the pacing, I think, a little bit. And then if you want them all to come together, forming up into the next movie, or however you want to do that. So
yeah, completely agree.
Will be very interesting. I do just want to talk about the lineup that they said that for sure are in this movie. So we got Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Simu Lee. Hope I pronounced his name right. I'm never really sure. And Karen Gillian. So a couple of these were actually kind of interesting to me. Like it wasn't the lineup I maybe would have expected as far as like the first people to sign on. What's your thoughts on this as well?
I mean, I think it's like kind of like what I said to you yesterday. Like I think this is a case of these are the people that they have officially locked down, and they're probably the only people that they've officially locked down. Maybe a bunch of smaller characters have been officially locked down, but in terms of like big parts of the MCU, these are the only people that they can say right now with 100% certainty are going to be in the film, because they've either confirmed with the actors or actresses or whoever that yes, they will be free when filming is expected to start. The problem is obviously that they likely very much don't know when filming is going to start. They don't know when they'll have a script or any of this stuff, so that could change. Like I think just at the moment what their current timeline is for filming date, these are the people that are like, yeah, I can put you there for that. Interestingly though, like in that I think it says it's like Benedict Cumberbatch to Tom Hiddleston. So it's like, it's not exactly saying, and it's like, there are other characters here that they probably haven't mentioned. These are just, you'll have your big characters like Hulk, Thor, and Doctor Strange, but it'll also be way to Loki and Shang-Chi and Nebula, who are very much different characters than, the main Avengers heroes from the original films. I agree with you that it's an interesting lineup to have. Like, I think, Shang-Chi and I guess Hulk and Doctor Strange, they would be the three that I would have assumed would have been in this film no matter what. Thor, I was just weary on just basically based off of Chris Hemsworth being kind of so like in and out of whether he's coming back to the MCU or not. Tom, just because he kind of talked about being done for the moment with Loki after the TV show, and Nebula just because it's Nebula, she kind of doesn't super work as a character without the Guardians surrounding her. So I'd be interested to see how she works without your Gamora or without your Peter Quill or without those sort of characters.
Actually, I kind of love like the Nebula show. Like I think that could be really cool, because even in Endgame, like it was her and Rocket in Endgame, and I actually think she worked very well. But I also think she had a very special bond with Tony, and now that Tony's gone, what's that dynamic like? But
like, I think we're Rhodey or something.
It could be, yeah. You definitely could go that route. And like maybe it's a thing of like, all right, we want to bring back a couple Guardians, but maybe not the whole team. So maybe you kind of solo her out. If this is like a galaxy large quest, it could maybe make sense. Like they go to the planet that planet that she's on, be like, oh, we got this fight. Do you want to come with or whatever? Like I could see that working. I just think she's one of my favorite like MCU characters. So her name was on that list among all the others. I was like, good for you, man. Like good. Like I can't believe you're in that roster among everyone else. Shang-Chi made me happy because I know he needs something. Like he needs a win. We need to get him back in these.
Something to do because that film was so cool in terms of the action sequences. Like bring some of that flavor to the new Avengers film.
I agree. And also there's a funness to having, for the first time since 2018, we got Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston in an MCU movie together, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. 2019, right? When was Infinity War? Was that 20?
Infinity War was 2018. Endgame was 2019.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, we've been kind of waiting for like that like reunion if they're going to do that. So that's kind of a cool, I guess, a little bit of a confirmation. I also just think it's smart to have like, I was almost thinking like you're going to want to get a couple of those faces that are safe bets as like your first ones to announce. Sure. So like having a lot of those phase 1 through 3 actors, I think is smart, right? Yeah. Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Doctor Strange, Loki, like those are all very safe bets. Those are characters everyone knows. Like Shang-Chi's the only one here that was introduced post Endgame, right? So
exactly, yeah.
That's smart, I think.
Like Hulk and Thor are there to kind of ease a new audience into the new lineup. And also to be like, people who haven't watched an MCU film, you know, you've got your Hulk and Thor in here, they're going to want to see that anyway.
Yeah, that's smart. I actually think that's the best way to do it, because I feel like there's been a lot of, we want the old characters back, we don't want these new ones, but if you combine the old and the new, maybe by the next couple like lineups, you'd be like, oh yeah, I love Shang-Chi, and I love Sam Wilson, and I love Kate Bishop, or whatever your lineup may be. So I think it's smart. I'm excited just to have something from that movie, because it's been 5 years since we've had our last one. Yeah, I feel like we should have been gearing up to one either last year or next year, like gearing up to our next one now. But
yeah, it's going to be almost 10 years by the time, like when we get this, it'll be like 8-9 years since the last Avengers, which is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think
we might get a young Avengers before this, though.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Which I actually kind of wish it was after. Like, I think maybe they would have had a bit more luck if they were like, they're in the Avengers, they are Avengers. Okay, then give them a spinoff, like give them over there. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how.
Or Young Avengers set concurrently with this. You know, you have the main heroes gone or something. And the Young Avengers
that's kind of what I thought. Yeah, because I think like the definition of what's an Avenger, I think is very blurry at this point.
Yeah,
it's like anyone who's like any hero in the MC is basically an Avenger if they work with the Avengers. So it's whatever. I'm curious how this all kind of goes down. This one, I don't have to talk about this one too much, but I actually did want to bring this up. So, Eva, I don't even know how to say her first name.
Evangeline Lilly, I think.
Evangeline Lilly has announced her retirement from acting. Now, I don't typically like talking about like drama with actors, internet drama, because there's not really the vibe here. But I did think this one was kind of interesting for just MCU news in general.
Yeah.
Because if this is true, if she's leaving, does that mean Wasp is gone? Does that mean we're recasting? Are we just done with the character in general? What are your thoughts on this?
I would think they'll just not have hope in anything going forward. I don't think they'll recast. I think at that point they'll just have like Cassie become essentially that role, I guess, alongside Scott. They could even have Janet or Hank step back into some kind of hero roles, even if that'd be a bit maybe much. But I think they'll just use Cassie in whatever role they were planning for Hope in the next films, if they even had one, because they did say that they weren't planning an Ant-Man 4 after Ant-Man 3 underperformed. So I think it's possible, like, you know, we're definitely going to get Scott in Avengers 5.
Yes.
We'll get Cassie in Young Avengers. But maybe Hope wasn't even on the cards for an Avengers 5. Yeah. Maybe she found out that they didn't have plans for an Avengers 5, and she was like, look, this is kind of a good chance. Kind of like, leave it. So, who knows?
Because even Ant-Man 3, like, she wasn't really needed.
Not really there that much.
Like, if you take her out of that movie, nothing changes. There's one action sequence where she saves Scott. That's about it. That's really, and I guess the ending where, like, she goes back for him, right? That could have been Cassie. Like, that could have been anyone. Yeah, so.
And Scott should have stayed in home room. That's why I think that film should have ended.
I would have loved that ending if it wasn't for Ant-Man 2, right?
Yeah,
where they because I do feel like, as much as I wanted that ending, it's like, but isn't that how the second one ended as well? As they were stuck in the random?
Right,
so that's my only grievance with that. But like, I'm not, like, I love her from Lost. I liked her overall as Wasp. Like, I didn't have an issue, but like, obviously I know there's been a lot of controversies with the actress. Quantumania probably didn't boost her confidence a lot after how that movie performed. Maybe it was her like, all right, well, I'm gonna dip. So yeah. I mean, I also think there's always the possibility, like, Secret Wars is coming. That's your chance to redo some things. I'd actually love if, like, new continuity wise, if you're like, well, now Hank and Janet is the main Ant-Man and Wasp.
I would really like
that'd be really cool.
Have them, since they were original Avengers in the comics. Yeah. Like, have them be kind of the new Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Mm-hmm. Like awesome. Recasted younger. So obviously, like, what's his face doesn't want to be back. You can tell he's done, right? He's like, he's not his last rope with these movies.
He's phoning in a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So just, that'd be so cool as well, just being able to have those two. Because I think I prefer Hank over Scott in general as a character. So as a character
outside of the MCU, in the MCU, I think I prefer Scott just because they haven't done a whole lot of Hank. Yeah. But like in like the animated stuff in the comics, I think Hank and Janet are much more complicated and interesting characters than I think Scott and Hope are in the MCU.
I agree. I think that'd be a cool direction to go in.
Yeah.
And
it was great in that What If episode, the one where he's like going after the Avengers.
Yeah, I always wanted like a TV prequel. Like I think that could have been really cool, where you have like them when they're young, and like that episode was like, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted out of them.
Yeah, I loved it. One of the best episodes of the show, I think.
Got our next our topic here. Connor's favorite topic, Disney, which is the overall topic of the episode.
There's the Star Trek
new sequels and spin-offs are reportedly being discussed over at Pixar. Now again, we don't like talking about rumors too much, but these have been going on for a couple months now, where like there have been, especially these main two that we're going to be talking about, where they're like, these things are happening, or what? Actually, it's not even a rumor, because they have said these are two sequels that we want to do. Like that's something that they have actively said, and the other one has been confirmed here. So we'll go over these one by one. They want to do another movie in the Finding Nemo universe. Now, you like Finding Nemo, right? Like you were like
Finding Nemo was the first film I saw in cinemas ever.
Oh hell! What a cool movie to see in theaters. I'd love to see that in theaters.
No, yeah, like it's a childhood film for me. It's one of those films that as soon as it came out, I had on VHS. Grew up with it, watching it quite a bit. Yeah, no, I really like Finding Nemo.
Hell yeah! Is another one of these movies something that you'd be excited about and different about? Would you be open to one?
I mean, I'm open to it. They can make it. I can't confirm if I'll watch it, but they can make it. I didn't really like Finding Dory a whole lot.
Fair. That's fair.
It didn't leave that sort of impact. And like the Finding Nemo being the first film you saw in cinemas, like that leaves an impact.
No,
like,
that's fair.
No matter what is your first film you see in cinemas, your first film on a big screen in front of you when you're like 3 or 4 years old, like that's going to leave an impact. But I think Finding Dory, when I only watched it, I think a few years after it came out, it was like 2018, 2019 when I watched it. Yeah. And I just remember thinking kind of nothing about it. I was like, yeah, it's whatever. Like it's Dory.
Yeah.
It's the same character, I guess. That was kind of it.
Yeah. I like Finding Dory. I think it's okay.
Sure.
I do think there's a massive drop up between 1 and 2, though. Like I think I think Finding Nemo is one of Pixar's best. I think Finding Dory is fine. It's okay. Yeah. I think it slightly has that like Cars 2 problem, where it's like, making the fun silly character the main character, where I don't necessarily know if that works. And obviously, I think everything with Ellen recently has even furthered that. Like, I don't know. I'd actually be very curious if they do another one of these. If you bring Ellen back,
you recast maybe.
If you do something like that. I mean, it's been a joke for years, where it's like, okay, you did Finding Nemo, you do Finding Dory, now it's Finding Merlin. Like that's been the joke for years now. And I think in terms of like, I think ocean movies are always really fun with Pixar. Like I love Nemo, I love Atlantis. This isn't Pixar, but it's Disney. I love Luca. I think in terms of like, I've heard a lot of people being like, well, what would you even do with it? And I was like, it's an ocean. You could do literally anything you want. There's a lot of possibilities there. So I'm very much open to it. I do think you should go a little bit back to the core of it. I think you need to go back to like the dynamic of Nemo and Marlin, because I do think that's what makes the original so impactful, was like the love, like a father and his love for his son. And I think if you can bring back the core of that, I'm open to it. And then you have Incredibles 3, which they've also said they wanted to do, which I thought was confirmed a while ago. Like I thought they said they were going to be doing one after 2 came out. I guess I was wrong about that. I think I feel the same about Incredibles 2 as you feel about Finding Dory. I hated Incredibles 2.
Really?
Incredibles is my favorite superhero ever made. It's one of my favorite movies ever made. Like I adore that movie. I think that's a masterpiece. And I thought the second one just really phoned it in. Like obviously there's elements of it that worked. I did not think it was great. So I want a third one just to like fix the reputation of Incredibles a little bit, to be like, oh yeah, this is like as like one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Yeah,
like Cars 3, less Cars 2.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and I think tons you can do with Incredibles. That's a very open world. Just have another story within that world. I'm very down with that idea. I don't know what I would do with it, but I'd be very open.
I'd go back to the early days of like, yeah.
Be cool.
I think doing it like with the old like guard of superheroes, like when it was like
cool.
Yeah, like the beginning opening of the original Incredibles, where it's like the TV interviews of them with their old suits and stuff, and then as we go through the film and we learn about the history of heroes going away and they were hunted by Syndrome and all that, I think a film focused around that era would immediately set it apart from anything else in Pixar's catalog. Because like, have they done something that's like sort of noir 50s, like something like that?
Kind of up in the beginning.
Yeah,
I guess
sure. Yeah,
a little bit of up, but not. And I guess Ratatouille kind of has that feel a little bit. But yeah, I would be totally down for that. I think even like I pitched like an Incredibles TV show for years. I think you could have a lot of fun with that if you put the time and budget in. Like, obviously, I know they don't always do that. Yeah, like they like I think the template of the Incredibles would work well in like an episodic format. But I'm open to it. And then they had also officially, it's in the works over this last week, an Inside Out spin-off series, which will focus on the dream elements within Riley's brain. Sure. I went from very excited to kind of disappointed when I saw this though, because like that's really cool. I'm glad for them. I have pitched for years though an incredible Inside Out like anthology show. Like that's my dream Disney concept. Like I don't know if I've ever told you or talked about it on here. I know I've talked about it here. I don't know if you were ever here, but like I love the idea. Do you like the first one? Have you seen the first one?
Inside Out? Okay. I think I've seen every Pixar film except for Elementals and Inside Out 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I love the idea of just like each season or even each episode, if you wanted to go that direction, you follow someone new. So you get to just follow someone else's life and what they're going through. Like I love the idea of like season 1, you can go like a 50-year-old man. What are his emotions looking like? What is he dealing with? Season 1, maybe you can go with like a pregnant woman. Maybe you could season 3, you could like go like an autistic boy. Maybe you could do someone who's like coming out. Like I think there's so many possibilities of the emotions of what someone is going through in certain parts of their life. That'll be so fascinating. I think it could be a really cool pitch. And maybe they still could at someday. Like there's been talks like if this one does well, maybe they'll do more of these type of movies. So there's definitely room for this franchise to grow and evolve. I think out of all Pixar's catalogs, this is the one most open to like explore what else is out there in terms of just. I actually think that's what Pixar needs to do more of. It's instead of sequels, do like expand the world.
More,
like like Toy Story. I'd be totally down. Instead of Toy Story 5, just follow a new set of toys. Like follow their journey inside. That'd be sick.
I just think like there's so like. And I don't want to say it's that they're not creative anymore because it's clear Pixar are trying to be creative. It's just that sometimes they get like kneecapped by Disney and stuff like that, where they're like, we're going to put your thing on Disney Plus. It's not going to do well, obviously, and then we're not going to give you a chance to make another film like that because it didn't do well. Like there's clear change of pace, but I also feel like and maybe it's just me, because I'm growing up. Like I'm not growing up with Pixar films anymore. Like I'm an adult now, so the films aren't aimed at me, but like I just, Finding Nemo, Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Incredibles, Up, Cars, like Ratatouille. I mean, I think Ratatouille is a terrible film, but that aside, WALL-E, like these are all such crazy good concepts that are that any of these films you could say is one of the best animated films of all time, and no one would argue with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I thought Soul was pretty good, but like, I don't know if Soul or Luca or Turning Red or Onward or Lightyear, I don't think any of these films to me felt as full of passion and as full as creativity that a lot of the original Pixar films did. And that's because a lot of people who worked at Pixar originally aren't there anymore. They've moved on. It's a whole new crew there now. It's not the same studio. No studio would be after 20 years. But I just feel like, again, it's probably just I'm an adult now. They're not aiming the films at me anymore. But I don't get excited about Pixar's catalog the way somebody who literally was in love with 90% of their films growing up should be.
I mean, I'm a defender of modern Pixar. Like I am someone that will sit here and be like, no, I actually think they are good. The issue I think Pixar has that a lot of other studios don't is they made so much peak. Like they made like 10 out of 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 10. Where like now I still think Pixar makes some of the greatest movies in Hollywood, but retrospectively when you look back at Toy Story 3 and WALL-E and Inside Out and like all these masterful films, like Turning Red and like Elemental isn't a Coco or like an Inside Out, but also they're not trying to be either. Like they're trying to be a much more smaller scale, personal kind of story. But I think Soul is it's not in my top 10, but I think it's like my number 11. Like I think it's right there among the greats. I think Lightyear is the only modern one that I say I don't like. Like Lightyear to me was fully like, oh, that's cash grab. Like I like they were truly going through the motions on that one. But I'm very concerned now because now they've come out and they're like, oh, they're going to try to focus on films that are for everyone, and it seems like, oh, you're going through whatever your other thing that Disney's going through, and you're just trying to, it seems like, focus on a lot of sequels and try to not be as creative. And I think if people didn't like it now, I think it's going to get worse going forward, which what really scares me. So
for me, like Soul, I think since 2020 or 2019 onwards, Soul, I think, is the only film that I've been like, Soul and Onward. Like, what came out before Soul and Onward? Because I know Soul and Onward were 2020. What was 2019? Let me just look up their catalog real quick. Because I know I really liked Coco, and I really liked Inside Out.
Oh, what was 2019?
Was 2019 like Toy Story 4?
Was that Cars 3?
Yes, Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4.
Cars was before
it was Cars 3 before that, yeah.
Okay.
Which I didn't love. Toy Story 4 is weird because I don't love it, but I think it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a good movie. I just don't love it.
I'm like, I hate that they made it. They shouldn't have made it. The tree was a perfect ending. But as somebody who, to the Toy Story trilogy, is one of their most beloved trilogies of all time, and I would maybe say it is my favorite trilogy of all time. I think Toy Story 4, they would have had to have done anything to make me hate it. Like, they could have, like, I don't know. There's no way I would have disliked that film, you know?
Yeah.
And like I'm biased towards it.
Yeah. I mean, like, it won an Oscar, so again, it's not a bad movie. I don't like decisions they made in that movie.
No, yeah, absolutely. And then Toy Story 5 is just going to make that even more apparent, I guess.
I really wish they did, like, again, just pick another room. Like, there's so many possibilities you can go with Toy Story. Again, there's ways I think you can make it cool. Like, I think there's elements you can do. And again, if it's literally, if you ended it differently than you did the last two movies, I'm fine. Do as many as you want. But my issue, and I've talked about this on here and prior, is you ended the franchise twice now. You have purposely lied to the fans. They'll be like, this is the last one. Come to the movie theater because this is the last one you're ever going to see. And they've done that to us twice. It's like, no, fuck off. Like, don't. You're going to do it again with this one. Like, that's so dumb.
It's like 3 was this giant emotional goodbye to everyone, and then 4 was a giant emotional goodbye to Woody. It's like, how many more times can you do that? Is it Buzz? Are we going to say goodbye to Buzz this time? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. And like 3, I can move on from 3. I defended the movement to 4 when it was happening because I was like, no, that's like an end of a chapter, and now we're moving on to a new chapter, and I was totally okay with that. I defended that, and then you did it with 4 again. It's like, no, you like if you were going to do that, just commit to like another trilogy, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have as much of an issue. But
I agree, completely agree.
All right, I have one more.
Even just have that these toys are being like passed down just from different kids. Like you do Bonnie for a few films, then she's an adult and she passes it down to I don't know, her like daughter or whatever. You know, like you could do that where you just you're saying goodbye to the people who had the toys and not the toys themselves. But no, they're purposely making us say goodbye to the toys each time, even though that shouldn't be what they're doing. And
then even that, like the rumors that Andy's back for this one, I was just like, I don't really want that.
Really?
Like, yeah, that's the rumors. Like
that's annoying.
Andy, he's in college or whatever, and they get back to Andy. I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah, that kind of ruins a lot.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't know. I'll see when it gets there. Like again, when it comes out, I'll be like, fuck yeah, I'm excited because it's a new Toy Story and I love Toy Story. But like, I don't know.
Sure.
All right, we have one more story here. I guess technically two, but I'll try and see through these really quickly. New Hunger Games book/film Sunrise on the Reaping is in the works. This made my day. This came out this morning, and I was very happy when this came out. What's your kind of history with like the Hunger Games movies? I think we talked about it earlier in the year, but
I saw the first one in cinema. The only reason I saw the first one in cinema was I was with my friends and we were trying to get into, I don't know what film it was, whatever came out like in 2012 that was same time as Hunger Games that was like, I don't know, like 15s or whatever. We tried getting in, they wouldn't let us in. They were like, absolutely not. They're like, well, you can't see Hunger Games because that's 12s. We were like, ugh, fine. So we went to see Hunger Games, but then we really liked it. And then we saw Catching Fire when that came out. Then I didn't see Mockingjay Part 1 and 2 until they were both already out. And then I saw Songbirds in cinema as well. And then for the books, we had to read the first book for Junior Cert English. So it's like our exams when we were in like 15, 14, the kind of that sort of time. So we watched the film a couple times and we read the book, kind of in like, dissected it and dug deep into the book for that. And then I have the other 2 books and I read them.
Hell yeah.
Too. But I think it's a good franchise. I'm not in love with it, but other than I think Mockingjay Part 2, I don't think I dislike any of the films.
Sure. Yeah, I would probably agree with that as well. I've got really into it recently. I haven't read the final 2 books as of this point. Like, I've read the first books, I've watched the movies, but like as I've gone through the books, I've like fallen more in love with the franchise. I liked the movies; I thought they were really solid, and then I think the books was able to just give me so much more lore and information on the characters. I think just works overall better than the movies ultimately did. But this is very exciting because I felt like for the future of the Hunger Games movies / books, this is kind of the direction I think everyone kind of wanted to go. Like, I think for as I'm kind of diving new into fan base, like everyone's like, okay, yeah, you either want oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names. What's his name? I'm sorry, I always blank on his name.
Like Haymitch?
Haymitch, yes. And then Finnick, yes. Like, those are the 2. Yeah. Like the 25th and the 50th, I think those people are like, yeah, we'd like to see movies or books about these things.
Yeah.
And I think the 50th becoming a reality is really exciting. Fascinating. Like, I don't know if you've read 2, right? You read the second book, like when they really go into...
No, I've only seen the film for the second one. I've read the first book.
Cool. I don't remember what the second movie goes into, but there's an entire sequence when they go into his arena. Like, there's like a whole chapter where it's like dedicated to them watching the footage of his arena. Then they go into what they all had to go in. I think that story is really fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil that story for anyone who wants to go into the book kind of blind with it, but I think Haymitch is he's my favorite character in these movies / books. Like, I think
he's a really interesting character. I think
such a fascinating character. I mean, I guess they go into it in the movie, so I guess I can kind of spoil it. Like, he won these games, and then they killed his entire family because he quote unquote cheated or didn't follow by their rules, and like how that transformed him into the person that he is I think just really, really interesting. I think throughout the books, kind of seeing him being able to soften up because he has friends for the first time in ages, and this is the idea of like, I have these new friends now, but now that I have friends, are they going to take them away from me too? Like, that to me is also fascinating.
Like, are they in danger because they're like around me and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Are you? Who do you think they'd cast as a young Haymitch, like as a young Woody Harrelson?
It'd be really. I think they should just get him.
Just the age.
Yeah. No. It's just him. Just him and a wig.
Like, I just don't want to dress it.
Yeah.
Do the Oliver wig. From I mean, it looks like he's already wearing it, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know who you cast. I'm excited to see that, though. I'm really excited because it's interesting. I wonder if that's just how they're going to do it, because they did the same thing with the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, where she announced she was running the book, and they also announced the movie at the same time. So I wonder if that's going to be the future of the franchise. It's like, and that's cool. I think that's really sick. I like, it's not one of those franchises where like, okay, we got 5 projects and we got this and this. This is like, hey, I'm working on a book. If you also want to work on the movie at the same time, let's do it. Like, I think that's really fun. Yeah, no, like, hey,
awesome.
Hey, I got this point done. Do you want to look at it? Anything you want to, like that? That's fun.
I think it's like it's just really interesting as well that and it's cool on them, on Suzanne Collins, I think, is the author. Like, for her to be like, this is the next story we're telling because this is what the fans want to see. Like, a lot of these franchises, like going rights where their next stories or their prequel stories or their sequel stories aren't focusing on what the fans actually want to see. It's like, it's it's an event that's mentioned once somewhere and is completely irrelevant, whereas the big event that sparked a lot of the current stuff isn't touched at all because they're like, well, no, I don't want to write that. But it's like, here, no, they're going straight for what people want to see.
Yeah. And there's the element of like, she has a very strong role. Like, there will never be a Hunger Games movie without there being a book that go along with it. Like, there will never be a film that I didn't write a book for. So I think that I commend her because she can make a lot of money. Do as many spinoffs as you want. They make a lot of money. Just do it. So I really respect that. In a world where we have like your like Game of Thrones, where like, oh, we ran out of book stuff, let's just do whatever we want. Like, it seems like that will never be a thing. So that's really cool.
For sure.
Anything you want to see from this movie / book in this one, or are you just kind of like, I'm excited?
I'm excited. I got to rewatch the original trilogy films and read the original books again. The first book again, the other ones for the first time. But I'll definitely see it. Songbird I thought was really good. I was like, honestly surprised it. Like, it was a long film, but it felt very, very well put together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just exciting to me because I was kind of thinking like there's a number of books I thought like, well, I guess we're done with the Hunger Games. Like I really didn't know. I thought maybe we were done. And honestly, I would have been okay because I think how it ended was like really cool. But I'm glad there's still stuff coming up. Like it's a franchise I've really enjoyed, and I'm excited to kind of see where the future of it all goes. And maybe again, like this opens up like Finnick, I think is also be a really cool story to tell. Like that Hunger Games is it feels like such a fun environment to explore. And like how do you make like a character like him like sympathizing? Because I feel like he's a very like he has a lot of heart to him clearly, but like he's a very like not selfish but like bombastic kind of character. So I'll be fascinated. All right, and we have one last thing here I do want to go over before I let you go here, Connor.
I'm getting fired. What?
Beck Bennett, I think is how you'd say his name, is playing Steve Lombard in Adventures of Superman, just Superman, I guess, at this point.
2025. Let's go.
I didn't zoom it in. You can't even see what I'm looking at. Sorry.
No, I'm
so what's your thoughts on this?
No, yeah, it's something I was curious about, just like how deep into the roster of Daily Planet cast members like they'd go with this, because Man of Steel was the most heavy Daily Planet focused kind of. I mean, I guess Batman v Superman Extended Cut delved into the more reporting parts as well. But I think like I'm curious now, like, because I think if you've got Steve Lombard, that more or less, to me at least, confirms we're getting like Ron Troop and like Cat Grant and stuff like that as well, kind of to round out that whole sort of extended cast. But I think this is cool. I think it's something that we've never seen in live action yet, is this really good dynamic between like Lois and Steve and Ron and Kat. Like these sort of long-time people of the Daily Planet. Clark comes in, there's already a dynamic set up by these characters, always trying to one up each other, always trying to covering a different part of whatever the Daily Planet news of the day is. And I think you got Jimmy in there as well, obviously, as well, to like throw him in. Like there's a really cool sort of mix and clash of characters there. Smallville sort of delved into it with the Cat Grant Lois Lane stuff towards the end, with Jimmy Olsen Smallville as well, obviously. Superman and Lois, obviously, since the show starts with Clark literally losing his job at the Daily Planet, never really does a lot with the Daily Planet stuff other than kind of minor references. So I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to be the most Daily Planet centric Superman film since the original 1978 Christopher Reeve film, which that film had so much in it with Daily Planet. Like Clark comes in and you've got Lois and Jimmy and Perry all sort of like arguing over things and showing stories to each other. You got Lois like asking how to spell things. Like, I don't know, just the idea of having a very traditional opening where Clark comes into the Daily Planet. And I mean, he's probably already worked at the Daily Planet if he's been at Metropolis for a year at this point. But, just coming in and there's just newspapers everywhere, TVs everywhere, people yelling everywhere. Like, that feels very sort of 1960s and 1970s in its aesthetic. And then you've got actual named other characters like Steve, Ron, Kat, who never really get a lot of time to shine outside of the comics or the animated stuff. Because My Adventures with Superman also does some stuff with this, with Ron, Steve, and Kat. So I'd like to see something like that brought into live action. So just to me, this is really exciting. I think it's showing that I think a lot of people were worried that with, announcing characters like Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, the Engineer, that there's not as much Superman characters as there should be in this. I think this is proof that we're going to get some good Superman-centric character content.
Yeah, I mean, just like one of the earlier things that James Gunn was kind of pitching to us, where it's like there's a Clark Kent life, there's a Superman life, and how is he balancing those two, which I think is very fascinating. It's why I'm kind of very excited to see who's in the life of Superman, who's in him, balancing those two. I think My Adventures is going on right now is a perfect example of how interesting, because this season alone, I think the show, it's a focus where I just think Clark Kent's the focus of that show, right? Yeah. It's a show about Clark Kent and his adventures as Superman, not only with Lois Lane. I think if you could pull a bit of that, I actually think the perfect balance I could think of is Superman and Lois in the Backlash episode, where it's very strict on Clark Kent meeting Lois Lane, working at the planet, doing a story, but also having I'm also Superman, so I'm gonna go take this guy out really quick. And again, even the pilot when they're opening, when he's walking through the Daily Planet, all the yelling, all the phone calls, who told you this or whatever. That's such a, I don't know. I'm excited for that aspect of it. I think, it's great.
It's great.
Reintroducing, because Man of Steel, we can have that conversation. But one of the things, and I don't blame the movie or Zach or anything, because it wasn't their fault, because they didn't have time in later stuff. But it was very much Superman focused and not as much Clark Kent focused. We didn't get to see the life of Clark Kent in like the DCEU, and I'm excited to get that.
Man of Steel was very much like Superman's journey. Like I think Man of Steel is much more of like, in the DCEU, it feels like he's Kal-El and not Clark Kent. Yes. Whereas like he should be Clark Kent first and foremost, with Kal-El coming second. And I think Gunn is getting that, where he's making these films be Clark Kent focused and not Kal-El focused. You know, like there's three sides to the character of Superman. You know, you've got Superman, Clark, and Kal. I think it's very important what you focus on. It's similar like Smallville. Smallville is very much a Clark Kent focused project and not a Superman or Kal-El project. I think here this is a good sign that like he gets it, that it's Clark Kent.
I agree. Yeah, and I like. There's a lot I didn't like about like the Man of Steel movie, but I could definitely like respect the direction he was trying to go with that. Like his mindset was like, okay, normally it's Clark Kent becoming Superman. What if Superman had to become Clark Kent? That's interesting. I really like that idea. I just wish we could have seen it in full circle. I guess they tried to in like BVS. I don't think there was enough focus in there as I maybe wish there could have been.
There should have been another Man of Steel film before BVS.
I agree. Yeah, where he is Clark Kent. We get to see him becoming that like mild man that we know is out there. But,
that's the thing. That's like I never see Henry Cavill as the character who's like bumping into people as he was walking into. Exactly. You know, like Tyler and Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh all nail that. Whereas I think like Tom Welling, as great as he is, I never could totally see him doing that sort of stuff either. And they tried doing it a little bit towards the end of Smallville, but it's like, you know, I want to see David be more of the Superman who's like tripping over things, like, you know, purposefully like bumping into people. Like, oh, lickety, I'll be there, lickety split, Perry. Like, I want to hear things like that, you know, like instead of the more. I think it's like, didn't Clark say in his very first episode of Supergirl, he's like, I'll be there, lickety split, and then he's like, yes, Mr. Watt, I understand people don't say lickety split anymore.
That's really funny.
Like, I want more stuff like that. Like, it's so fun.
And I think it would have been really fun to see Cavill do that, because I think like My Adventures is so funny because he's just this huge buff guy. He's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like there's that scene in the latest episode where he's just like sticking his head out the window, being like, "Can I get it?" Like, oh, he'll see me. Like he's so like such a goofball, but he's huge. He's jungle. Like he's a huge guy. So I think if they can manage that, like really tough, strong, but like a nerd, and oh my gosh, like this week he kind of felt like a Barry Allen type character. He's just sneaking out over the like. That's so much fun. I love that. But we're probably going to be moving into our main topic. Connor, if you want to dip, you can.
Absolutely.
If you want to stay, you can.
Thank you for having me.
You. Of course, you're never welcome back. You're never going to be back on the show ever.
I'm fine. Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
To pay for my house, but all right. You know what? It's fine.
Do you have anything you want to shout out or promo for people to go
not
see?
Not really at the moment. I'm going to try and start getting back into stuff next week. So maybe then.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, thank you for having me on.
Of course. Thank you for subbing in. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good day, sir.
Enjoy your Disney talk.
Thank you. Right. I will see you later, buddy. Bye-bye. Alrighty. It's just you and me now, people. How do I've never, let's get rid of this thing. Can we go full screen? Let's go full screen. Can we do this? That's not how we do it. Alrighty, while I get things situated here, we are going to be hopping into our main topic for today. We don't got anyone to chat today, but if anyone is watching on playback, thank you so much for watching. I want to start promoting some of the Spotify stuff. All these episodes are available on Spotify or any of the other streaming networks that you would use or would like to talk about. So for our main topic for today, I thought, with the Moana trailer being released, with Inside Out just being a couple of weeks away, with a lot of really cool Disney content on the horizons, you know what? We're just going to deal with this for now. This is fine. Actually, I can shrink that, right? You know what? We'll just go full screen. That's fine. This is fine. With a lot of Disney content on their horizons, like Mufasa and Moana 2 and Lilo and Stitch, we are going to be ranking them by anticipation. which should be a lot of fun. We're not going to spend too long on this because we are already an hour into the episode, but this gives us a chance to kind of talk and gossip about everything within this. There's a couple of things in here where there was a lot of live action rumored stuff, some stuff that's in production, some stuff that's not. I didn't include everything, but I got most of the major stuff we will be seeing within the next year, 2, maybe 3 years for Disney. So yeah, let's hop into our first one here, which is Inside Out 2. So I really, really like Inside Out. I mean, the first one is one of my favorite Pixar movies. I think Inside Out is pretty much a masterpiece. I think it's still kind of in line with what makes Pixar great. I think how it deals with, it's obviously, it has the charm, it has that specialness of the original, or what you love out of a good Disney movie, but I think it brings such a heavy weight to the conversation, and how that movie ends, I think, is something truly special. But in terms of Inside Out 2, I'm very excited. I've loved the trailers. I've actually only seen that first trailer. I saw the teaser they put out. I've seen the first official trailer, and I have not seen much since. I don't know why. I think I am very nervous about this one because I very much want to love this movie. Is there a chance I may not love it as much as I want it to, or maybe not live up to the gravitas of what the first one did? It's definitely very, very possible, but I'm very excited. I wouldn't say I'm like the most excited. I definitely don't think it's an S tier excitement for me. I definitely think it's an A tier. I have been very excited for it I actually cannot believe we are less than, it's next week. It actually comes out in 1 week up at this point. It comes out next Thursday. I will most likely be going to see it next Thursday, if that is at all possible for me. I don't know. I just really want it to be good. Pixar, I mean, we just had a giant conversation about Pixar and our love for the studio, my love for the studio especially, and, how much we love it. And I think, Elemental was our last proper Pixar movie? Was that it? I think Elemental was probably our last proper Pixar movie. A movie I'm very, I really enjoyed that movie. I thought they were on a roll. I do think we need a win, though. I think I hate the conversation of, Pixar's dead. Modern Pixar sucks. I don't believe that. I really enjoyed Turning Red. I loved Soul. I loved Luca. I thought Onward was okay. They need a win, though. I think we need to continuously prove that Pixar is still a good studio and they still make good movies. And I still believe that. I think we're like relatively I think they're better than DreamWorks. I think they're definitely better than what modern Disney has been putting out for the most part. I think Illumination, they're so better than Illumination. I don't know. This conversation, they fell off. I think it's kind of dumb because I still think they're the best at what they do. Personally. Okay, we have Moana 2. Oh boy. I think Moana 2 has easily turned into my most anticipated film of 2023. I have, it's really crazy that it's here. We got the trailer last week. We talked about it in last week's episode. Absolutely adored the trailer. It brought back that charm. It brought back that beauty that I love. Moana, first one, is probably my second favorite Disney movie outside of The Lion King. And I would say, that theater experience for me is something really special. It's something I cherish. It brought back my love for Disney, and my love for animation and musicals. And, there's been a lot of concern with Moana 2 because it originally was a TV show. It was originally a streaming show, and now people are like, so that means this movie's just going to be like a TV movie. And I think that they've known for a while. I think as early as Bob Iger coming back, which has been almost 2 years at this point, right? I think since Bob Iger came back, this was one of the first things he did. He saw the slate of what we're working on. He saw Moana being a TV show, and he said, hey, can we rework this into being a movie? And, I think Bob came in with a lot of like, this sucked, so I came in to be the hero to fix it. I think he was doing a lot of that. But I do think that may have been one of his best decisions. I bet that Moana 2 is the highest rated Disney trailer of all time. The internet has been raving over it. Internet's excited. Clearly, there is a passion. There is a drive for more Moana content, and I'm really excited. We're putting it straight to S tier. It's probably my most anticipated Disney thing in this lineup. We'll see when we kind of get there, as we kind of go down and talk about some of these other projects. Next up, we have Mufasa, The Lion King. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I think fear is putting... Lion King, which I just said it, my favorite movie of all time. Love The Lion King. Mufasa is my favorite character of all time. I want this to be good. I really, really want it to be good. I have to put it in B, though. Just because of my fear getting in the way. I want it to be good. You got Barry Jenkins as a director. You got Manuel Miranda here to do the music. Music's going to be a banger. We already know that for sure. Barry Jenkins is a great director, and I'm very curious. I'm very excited to see kind of where he takes things going forward. It is live action, and I think it's going to be good. I actually think it's going to be a good movie. I'm just nervous. It's a new story. It's new music. Great director. I don't know. It's B, though. It's B. Because I do feel like if this was animated, if this was an animated movie, I would be much more excited. But I do just think that, like, it does look ugly. I don't like how it looks. I'm not a fan of, like, the design of the movie. But I do think it looks better. I will say, comparatively, from what we saw in the trailer, I think this does look better. I think they do have a bit more emotion than the first one has. Maybe this is like a Stockholm Syndrome type situation. Oh, can I do this? Ooh, can I, like, shrink this down? Ooh, yeah, this is what we're going to do, y'all. Hold on. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Perfect. Okay, so we can have both. You can see my face and my ranking. Okay. Yeah, Lion King, I'm excited. If it was animated, I'd be a lot more excited, but it is what it is at this point. We got a Mr. Lilo and Stitch. So Lilo and Stitch, I saw this today, or yesterday, when I was, like, putting together the tier list for this episode. I was going through and I was like, when's everything coming out? What's all kind of on the lineup? Lilo and Stitch is September. I could not believe that. I was for sure, and I wasn't paying too much attention to it. I was like, oh, it'll be out sometime during the summer, apparently. Like, it's a Lilo and Stitch. It's probably like a July, August, whatever. It's a September. That's a September release, baby. Which I thought was very strange. I thought for sure they would want it to come out during the summer. The thing about this one, the last time we heard, we actually haven't had much updates. So I actually wouldn't be shocked if they, like, maybe it doesn't come out for September. But it is a Disney Plus movie, which this would be higher if it was theatrical. And let me tell you why. I have not loved any of the Disney Plus live action movies they've put out. I just have not. I haven't enjoyed them. I thought Peter Pan sucked. I thought Lady Tramp was okay. It was fine. It wasn't bad. It was just the same movie again, and whatever. It's whatever. And then Pinocchio I thought was also awful. I did not think that was good. So what about Mr. Stitch? What about Mr. Lilo and Stitch? I will say, casting-wise, I love it. Lilo's adorable. She looks perfect for the role. I'm Nini looking great. Got Bubbles back in here, and I remember, man, like they had the like they had cast like the new lady or whatever, like, oh, Disney's gone woke, they changed Bubbles, and then they also cast Bubbles, and they're like, you look stupid now, don't you? I'd probably put it with B with Mufasa. I don't know, I'm a bit... It's tough, because I think... Actually, I'm actually just really curious to see Stitch for the first time. Because, like, they're using some kind of like, it's not like CGI. It's like they're using practical effects or whatever for Stitch. Like they had an actual Stitch like in like a little costume or something on set. So I was like, are they just going to CGI around? Like I don't know how CGI works, so I can't really say my excitement for that one. But no, I'm excited. I think Lilo and Stitch is one of the Disney movies where I kind of thought you could do. I think it could be cool in live action, or not even live action, but just do a new one, because I think there's a lot to explore within like the Lilo and Stitch world. Like I think that world, what that world is really fun is they have a lot of fun world building, the different worlds you can go to. It would have been cool to just revisit the original continuity. I think Disney should do that a little bit more than they already are. But I'm excited. We got Elo, Elo. I don't know. I need to hear them actually say what the movie's called, because I don't feel like I've got it right thus far. I've got to put this one in C. Do I want? Okay. I feel bad. I feel really bad because like it's the only original movie here. And that's not because Disney doesn't make original content. That's just because we don't get to see the original content too far before it's announced. And we'd see the next Pixar or Disney stuff. We just gotta wait for it to be revealed. I gotta put it in C though. I have to put it in C. Just because I don't know. The trailer didn't wow me. I thought it was a cute, it was a cute trailer. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was adorable. It just didn't wow me. It didn't give me that pizzazz. It didn't give me that chemical. I don't know. I don't know. I need to see more though, because we saw one teaser. It was supposed to come out this spring, I think, summer, spring, whatever it was, and then that's all we've seen. It got pushed back to next year. So I hope it can move up. The trailer didn't do much for me, and it's an original movie, so the trailer kind of has to do a lot. Zootopia 2. I love Zootopia. I think Zootopia is one of Disney's best. I think as far as getting a sequel, Zootopia makes sense. I think it could be like, I think Zootopia could be Disney's Knives Out. I think the opportunity for sequels is an open door. And the fact that we haven't done one, its first one came out it will have been, y'all want to make yourselves feel old. The first one came out in 2016. This one will come out in 2025, which means it will have been 9 years in between the first and second movie. Do you guys feel old yet? Do you feel old? I hope you do. I grew up on this movie. I watched it so many times. It was one of those movies that, like, it came out, it was a hit, and then every time in school, every free day in school would be put on, every party, every doctor's office. I saw it too much, and I got sick of it. But I legitimately think it's one of Pixar's best. Or, I'm sorry, Disney's best. Like, I think it's a straight-up masterpiece. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's amazing. I'll put it with A. I think it's right next to Inside Out 2 for me. As far as my excitement for it and kind of what comes next with Zootopia. I'm excited to see this cast back. I'm excited to see a new mystery. Again, I think it's like Knives Out wide. You could do 5 of these and it would work. Just kind of continuing these characters' journeys in a fun way. Mr. Aladdin, sir. Aladdin 2. I threw this on here. There's a bunch. I wasn't sure if they're even still technically in production. Maybe I should have left this one out. I really want a sequel to Aladdin. And let me tell you why I really want a sequel to Aladdin. Because what I want from these live action movies, I would prefer, if we're doing these, I'd rather continue continuities from the older stuff. I think, obviously, you need to recast some people, clearly, but I'd love an Aladdin sequel. That goes for all these. Like, I'd love Lilo and Stitch. Instead of, like, just do an original Lilo and Stitch movie again. Do Hercules. Bring back Hercules. That's what I would prefer with a lot of these projects. But Aladdin 2, I think in retrospect, like, I like the idea there's no story to base Aladdin 2 off of, right? Because they've made clear with how they do these, like they're not going to adapt Aladdin 2. And even if they wanted to adapt Aladdin 2, let's say like, oh, they want to do whatever did, you can't, because Iago doesn't talk, and Iago is like the main part of that movie. So you couldn't do that even if you wanted to like do some version of like Return of Jafar. It has to be its own thing. It's an original script. It's original story. You're putting in that legwork. It's a new thing, and that's kind of what I want from Disney. It's going on the same bar as B though. I'm excited for it, not as much as A or S, but if it ever happens, I am there. Sign me up. I love that cast. I love Naomi Scott. I love the actor who played Aladdin. They're great. They're all great. Will Smith, yes, give him that Disney money. Bring him back. Even though he's no longer a genie. Which I actually thought was kind of interesting. Like, could they retcon things? I don't know. I thought like the fact that you took away his powers at the end of it was like an interesting, that kind of closes the door on him, but maybe like, I don't know, maybe they bring him back. Like, maybe like Jafar is like, you got your powers back because I need your help to open something. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say, but no, I'm excited. I got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think a lot of these live actions are going to be in B. I think they're going to be. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what you do. But not as excited as I'm probably going to be for any of these animated works. So, what I'm really excited about this movie, and I am excited, despite what the internet's going to tell you, I think this movie is going to be a lot of fun. The early screenings we've heard are incredible. I love. Her name's blanking me right now. It will come to me though. It's not coming to me because my mind is kind of all over the place. But I love Shazam. I love West Side Story. I love Hunger Games. She's amazing. I've recently gone down a rabbit hole of just listening to her songs on YouTube, and they're breathtaking. She is a star. The fact that she was nominated for an Oscar, her first ever film she's ever made, is insane. Like, people found her. They found her talent. People love her. Obviously, the controversy at the moment with her, so stupid, in my opinion. She's like, oh my god, like the whole thing where people are pointing out where it's like, oh, you don't even like Snow White. And like, that's not exactly what she said, but what she was saying is they're switching things up. They're doing something new. They're modernizing it. And I agree. I think you should modernize it. And then comes the thing of like, well, if you need to modernize it, shouldn't you just make your own thing? And like, okay, that's valid, but I don't think that's on her. That's not on. My mind on her is blanking. I'm so sorry, but she's amazing. I love her. So, and the reason I'm out of all these, that's maybe outside of Moana 2 and Frozen 3, but I think it's a movie with I'm most excited for that soundtrack. Because obviously you're going to bring back a couple of those classic songs, perhaps, but I think in general, she's going to bring off a lot of original content. I think she's really going to kill it when it comes to like the original stuff. So, super excited for that. But yeah, kind of like, I think in the same lane as like Aladdin 2, Mufasa, Snow White, whatever. I think the same lane as a lot of those. We got Frozen 3. Sue me. S tier. I am so excited for a new Frozen. This is part 1 in a 2-part story, and I think that is very, very, very exciting. That's the first time Disney Animation has ever done anything like that. And I think if you're going to do anything like that with any of the Disney projects, I think Frozen's the one to do it. Like Frozen or Moana, I think is like the perfect project to do something like that with. I love Frozen 1. I think that's a really great movie. I don't love Frozen 2. I'm in the camp where I think it's kind of just okay. But I love the music. I love the animation. I love the cast. I love the crew. I love the world that they built it around. And I think this one's going to be good. They're taking their time. All right. First one came out in 2014. Second one came out in 2019. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. A 5-year gap. Okay. So there's a 5-year gap between 1 and 2. So let's say 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. The next one's for 25. 26, right? So that'd be a 7-year gap in between Frozen 2 and Frozen 3. They got the time. They got a lot more time to work on it. It feels like Frozen 2, from what I heard, was rushed. They were like, this is a hit, start working on it immediately. And they were rushed with the story, rushed with certain elements of the movie. I just don't think Frozen 2 is bad. I will put it on every once in a while. It's just not my favorite. I think there are some issues with the movie. But I love it. Next up, we have Tiana. Oh my gosh, it's Yana. No, I love Tiana. I've been waiting my little butt for the Tiana series. The Tiana series was greenlit same time as Zootopia Plus, and Baymax, and the Moana series that is now Moana 2. And the one remaining, and we've heard it comes out this fall. S tier, man. I'm excited. I've been waiting. I feel like I have put up enough of my anticipation. I feel like I have talked about it more than most people have on the internet because everyone else forgot about it. And my ADHD was like, you will not forget about it because you are excited to get more Princess and the Frog content and you love it. It's your favorite thing. No, it's not my favorite Disney movie, but I love Princess and the Frog. And I really liked the idea of really focusing on Moana. Moana. Yeah, that makes sense on Tiana series. But no, like the big idea of like Tiana being such an interesting character, and as much as I love Princess and the Frog, the idea, well, she was a frog the whole time, so we really couldn't focus on her. Like the only black Disney princess we turned into a green frog. So I love the idea of focusing on that. It seems like the focus is her trying to balance following her dreams and being the chef, but also being a princess. Like that's interesting. Not the most original or anything, but I think it could be really, really cool. I'm excited to explore this world a little bit more. I don't know if we're going to be diving in at all into like the magical elements of anything, but I'm excited. It seems like a proper Disney TV show. Like it seems like I really hope I don't know. I feel like Monsters at Work, you know what? That's a proper Disney TV show, I suppose, but I haven't loved what I've seen of that. And then you have a lot like Baymax and Cars on the Road and Zootopia Plus. They're all shorts, really. They're all short content. So I'm hoping that this is a proper show. I'm hoping it's a show that gets multiple seasons. We've been waiting for like 4 years now. It feels like 3-4 years. So I hope it comes out. I hope we get multiple seasons. I love Tiana. I'd love a sequel. Okay, that's the tough thing with Princess and the Frog, though, is like, could you do a sequel without them being frogs again? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe just focus on the Tiana. Whatever. I don't know. We got Win and Lose, which also comes out this... I actually don't know when it comes out. I think it's fall. Maybe it's late summer. I actually have no idea. But Win and Lose, that was also announced, I think, around the same time as Tiana and Moana and Baymax and all that fun jazz. I'm actually not sure. I am actually not sure. Win and Lose is really hard to be excited for because, like, we know the concept and that photo that we've had for 3 years. And it's exciting. It certainly is very exciting. I mean, you know, Pixar's first ever TV show, proper TV show. I mean, no. It's their first proper... Please forgive me. It's their first proper original TV show, right? It's the first original content to be made into a TV show. So that's fun. I like that. They have said, I don't have the new Inside Out project here because it's so new or whatever, but they have said if this and that is well received, then they will do more. But if not, they'll probably be like, well, we're done with the TV avenue. So I hope people show up. I hope people like it. Just I think it's more of like an anthology, right? Where like we get to see. Okay, no, because we get to see the one game through the perspective of all the teammates and what they're going through and like their perspectives and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be amazing. It's Pixar, so I know they're gonna kill it. I need more though. I need a trailer. I need more photos. I need more concepts. I need to just come out. I need to just see anything from it for me to be more excited. So it's an A for now, but it could be an S if we get that trailer or whatever. Who put the Glad in Gladiator? Oh, it's Hercules live action. We've heard about this for a while now. It seems to be in production. I know the Russo brothers were working on it at one point. and then you gave it to the people who did the first Aladdin movie, if I'm not mistaken. What's his face? I keep forgetting his name, but he's great. Okay. I could just put it in B with the rest. I'm feeling C though. You know what? No, I'll put it in B. I'll put it in B because they've said a couple things about it. They've once again said they're going to be trying to do their own thing in terms of the story, and it seems like they're not just going to be copying the original Hercules. They're going to be doing their own thing, which I think is a movie that should be that, right? It's Hercules. There's so much lore. There's so much stuff you can do with it. Of course, it's Disney, so you can't go maybe a direction maybe another studio would go in, but I'm excited. You know, there was that comment that was made where it's like, oh, they're taking inspiration from like TikTok dances and songs and stuff, and that was a bit of a interesting. Don't hate the idea. I don't know what that means. Not sure what that means. I'll put it in B. I'm excited. Hercules was one of my favorite Disney movies growing up. Forgive me, I just need to cough one more time. One of my favorite Disney movies growing up. Loved it. Thought it was incredible. I'd be curious. I mean, we don't have a cast. Unlike all the other live action movies here, I feel like we don't know much about Hercules. Don't know what that all entails. Don't know what that looks like. But I'll be here when it happens. I'm still kind of holding out for that like Aubrey Plaza casting. I'm really wanting Aubrey Plaza. I know it's probably Ariana Grande because, you know, she wants it and stuff. But I don't know. I don't love it. Okay, we got Maleficent 3. Oh boy, it's Maleficent 3. This was announced November? I think it was like November when they officially announced this. Because we talked about it on stream before. And Maleficent 3 is one heck of a thing. I like these movies. I like Maleficent 1. I don't like Maleficent 2. I thought Maleficent 2 was really bad. C. I'm less excited than the three of you. But here's the thing. Original content, man. Original stuff. This is kind of what I want from Disney. A completely original story. You do your own thing. I like Maleficent as a character. Angelina kills that role. I'm down to explore more of it, man. I like the Maleficent movies way more than the Sleeping Beauty movies. Movie, I should say. I hate Sleeping Beauty. So it's an already improvement on Maleficent. Or Sleeping Beauty, or whatever you will. Oh, hey, Dwayne Johnson. Let's put your Moana live action in D. Yeah, screw you. No, I don't know. I think you're in D because there's already another Moana movie that's going to be better. And to me, that just felt like that movie felt like Dwayne Johnson was like, hey, I want to be a part of this live action stuff. Give me Maui. Like, I don't know. It feels like a decision based on one man in a way, and I couldn't care less. Like, maybe if there wasn't already the animated Moana in the works, maybe, please, I'm going to say this right now. If the live action Moana makes more money than Moana 2, then we deserve to get all these live action movies. Because at that point, you've done it to yourself. Like, you can't complain, oh, why are you making all these live action movies? Why not original content? Because you did. They are, and you don't go. That's the thing that triggers me the most. People are like, oh, I don't want this live action, make original stuff. They do. They do, and you won't go. So, show up for Moana 2. I mean this. I fully mean this. Show up for Inside Out. Show up for Zootopia 2. Show up for Moana 2. You know, show up for these, and maybe they'll be like, oh, maybe these are good as well. And you might say, those aren't original content. Yes, but they're original stories. They're original screenplays. They're original. Yes, they're sequels, but there's not necessarily anything wrong with a sequel. Like, sequels are okay. I think we forget that. Like, we're so in our minds about, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's a sequel. Sequels are okay, because it's still an original story. I don't know, man. If the live action one makes more, I'm going to be so fucking pissed. I'm going to be so mad that y'all let that happen. I'm seeing both in theaters, but I Oh man, please! I really want people to show up. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see Moana 2 twice. I'm gonna see the live action one once. I will make my contribution to that movie. Cruella de Vil. Okay. First Cruella. No, that's supposed to for the first one, but I couldn't find anything to use for the second one. Cruella is easily A tier. Cruella 2. I love the first one. I thought the first one was exactly what I want Disney to be doing with these live action projects. Exactly what I want. Like, it was announced, it was like a Cruella movie. I don't know about that, but how they were able to take this character that works very well in live action, by the way, like 101 works brilliantly. Like, that's why there's already been 3 of them, because it's a world that works very well in live action. You take such an iconic character and you bring someone at a caliber as Emma Stone into it, and you make it their own. You make it something really, really special, while also adding elements to the original. You're adding little pieces to like the lore and something like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's that from this. Like, it's, for me, it's what I want more from the Disney live action part of it. I don't just want Lion King, but again, I want, hey, take this element that worked and make something cool out of it. That's what I want. I love Cruella. I cannot wait for Cruella 2. I hope it comes soon. I think they're like in the beginning of processes on Cruella 2, but more. Give me more. Phineas and Ferb getting a Disney Plus show. It's getting that revival. S tier. I'm so sorry for the coughing, y'all. I'm just don't have a water next to me. I'm talking about myself, so that's just the only reason why I have been coughing. Yeah, Phineas and Ferb, and they're going to do it all. Phineas and Ferb, one of my all-time favorite shows. I feel like this feels like the outlier here out of everything, but it's getting that revival. It's just coming out this year. One of my all-time favorite shows. It's getting that S freaking tier, bro. It's getting up there. It's having fun up there. Perry's getting his head cut off at the top there, but yeah, I'm really excited. And then Toy Story 5. Listen, I talked shit earlier about Toy Story 5. I am mad how they've treated the fans. I'm mad about how I feel like they have done them a disservice by lying to them for 2 movies straight about being the last one. But here's what I'll say. Like I said in our earlier segments, when we get the trailer, when we get the posters, when I'm actually heading to the theater, I'm going to be psyched. Be hyped. But I still feel like I have to kind of be in this era of like, still kind of mad they're going in that direction. Like, I really, really wish we could have gone the spin-off direction. Right? Don't do Toy Story 5. Listen, I don't have an issue. Like I said at the earlier points, like, what up, Shutterbox? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Like I said at an earlier point, like, if you did Toy Story 3 and you're like, cool, that's it, and then you do just kind of do your own kind of trilogy kind of thing with your own kind of style, I'm okay with that, man. I really, really am. But like, I don't know, it feels like you've hit yourself in the foot by saying Toy Story 4 is the last one and lying to us again. And then you can do spin-offs, you can do all those kind of things. It's kind of, I don't know. Mufasa and B tier, I really don't understand that one. In which direction? Do you think it should be higher or lower? Because I talked about it a little earlier. Lion King is my all-time favorite movie. I actually wanted it to be S. I kind of wanted it to be much, much higher, but the trailers can't do it for me. I can't get, I don't know. But I'm so excited just to see all these kind of characters in different places, like getting to see the return of a lot of these characters. Mufasa is also a character I very much like, but can't be as high as the others, in my opinion. I think based on the trailers, I think lower based on trailer, which is fair. It's not a great trailer, but again, like I said, I think due to my love for the original, like the original Lion King is my favorite movie of all time. And then I don't know. I'm so excited for it. I'll be there opening day, but the trailers, I agree, didn't do a lot for me. But I'm hoping. But again, you also have Barry Jenkins, which is an award-winning director. You have Lin doing the music. Music's going to be fire. I already know that. So we'll see how it all goes. Okay, yeah, and then Toy Story 5. We were talking about. I'm excited. I like, part of me, like, due to just me wanting to be like, hey, screw this movie happening, I want to put ND, but I know that's a lie. Like, I know I blatantly don't think that. So I think I'm going to go with C. I would say it's in this category of like, I'm open to it, but I need to see more kind of category. And then you got live action Moana at the bottom to kind of hold that spot down there. And yeah, that's all I have right now in terms of Disney projects. Now there's a lot of, when picking out the projects to talk about today, like I was going through a lot of these kind of projects, and there was a lot of live action announced over the years. A lot in line with like Aladdin 2, where like it still had Jungle Book 2 in development, but I was like, that's been almost 10 years at this point, right? It came out 2016. So we've heard it's happening, but I've seen no development, I've seen nothing kind of like in the works with that whatsoever, so I wasn't sure. I wish it was just fully animated instead of the real. I 100% agree. If it was animated, it'd be an S tier. I think it should be a prequel to the original, or even if it's not even a prequel to the original, just an animated project in general. And that's my take on all these live action stuff. I'd be much more excited if like they were takes on the original or just done in animation. Didn't like the live action. Same. I hated the 2019 movie. That's the reason why it is so low to me. Just because I think that movie's horrendous. I think that movie's terrible. But yeah, like there was a lot that was kind of like up in the air. Like again, Lion King, that could be happening. You had there's a couple TV shows that were like in the works. Like we had that Gaston show that's also like still happening. I don't know what's happening with that, so I didn't put that here. Same with the Aladdin spinoff that is apparently happening with the like jelly guy or whatever. Like that's apparently still happening as well. But there's some I didn't include. Maybe in a couple years I can come back and do another version of this once we get some new announcements, or just add to it at a later point when we get, because D23 is coming up. So I think a lot, like we talked about Finding Nemo 3, Incredibles 2 earlier in the stream. So I think if those are officially announced, I'd love to add to this list or talk about what those could mean when we get there. Somehow I still like the 2016 Jungle Book movie, but still take the original over. I agree. I like both a lot. That's one of those cases, because I think what worked about Jungle Book is that it was its own thing in a weird way. Like I think you were able to honor the original story while also telling a completely new one and adding to things that worked. I think the original Jungle Book is like in my top 5 Disney movies though. Like I think it's like a perfect film, but they're both great. Like if I pulled up, I think on my Disney tier, like the live action tier list, it's like top 3 at least for me. So it's great. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably where we're going to be ending today's stream. I want to thank Chatterbox for being here. I want to for being inside the chat today. Anyone else who popped in earlier in the stream. I also want a big thank to Connor. He's not here anymore, but he held down the chat in the first half of the stream. Big shout out to him coming in. Literally, y'all, he was a king. He wasn't supposed to be on today, and then like 30 minutes prior, I was like, hey, I can do it. And he was like, you are a king. I love you. So that was great. Big thank you for everyone who popped in. Should be back next Thursday. Not sure what yet. We're thinking about doing a Walking Dead themed episode since I'm just about to finish the show. And yeah, without further ado, y'all, I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.